Hey everybody, this is Rydo, and we are back to Virtue's Last Reward. Let me make sure I'm actually on the monitor, on the right screen, and I wasn't. Let's bring that back up. Hello, there we go. That should work. Okay, we've seen Dio's End. We saw a fairly different timeline, but really going through the yellow door kind of just eliminates two lines of text that are really crucial and adds, I would say, two to three different conversations. Mostly it just reshuffles the groups, so now that we are at the secondary chromatic door, the decisions are different, and you really only have two options. We're just going to take the top option to go through the blue door with Tomoji. As it is, there's clearly about 8 more escape rooms, which makes me think that when we go through the blue door, we are going to either end up in the infirmary where we haven't done that before, or we're going to end up in somewhere completely different besides the pantry or the rec room. I'll take Tomoji. We'll go through the blue door.
Me? But I picked Betray last time.
Yeah. In this scenario, my BP, and it really feels like the BP should probably be part of the inventory icon in the top left. It would be very, very easy to have the color options always viewable from the archives and your BP always viewable. Even the explanation as far as how many BP you get when you betray an ally is not shown to you. And I don't really get that, frankly, because practically everything else is in the archive. So why is the most important stuff not in the archive? Like, it's not hidden somewhere back into the in the help either. So you would think, so like the very first thing here would be your BP score or your colors. Exactly. So I'll just make you pick ally this time. Well, I guess I should say you won't have a choice.
Is that so? Mind telling me how you'll do that?
Hee. I'd love to, but we don't really have time. Ask me again later, okay?
Fine, you're on.
So
we're doing option A.
we're doing option A. So Clover and Sigma and me are going with Tomoji, and we're going through the purple door, or blue door, I guess. That's supposed to be blue, dark blue. That color seems a little off now. And sometimes I've seen this chart and it's been like darkened out too.
That means Luna, Dio, and I will go through the green door.
Yeah. We know Dio's a killer, so Luna and Dio and Phi are going to be going. Although, inherently, I guess this also means that Phi will probably force Luna to betray Dio and balance it out. Although Dio will probably betray too. And if Tomoji doesn't ally, I'm dead also.
Which leaves the red door for Quark, Kay, and me.
And we're leaving Quark, who we saw in the last episode, try and stab himself with a scalpel, who's infected with Radical 6 as far as we can tell. He's knocked out at the moment. So he's going with Alice and Kay.
Any objections?
Hmm.
Good. Let's go.
Listen, take care of Quark, all right?
You needn't worry.
I'll watch out for him. 10 seconds remain until chromatic doors close.
Yeah, and unless Alice and Kay find out they end up in a treatment center, it's questionable whether Cork would end up in the treatment center at that point, which it kind of feels like he should be. It also seems like the symptoms that Cork had is the same symptoms that Sigma had in a different timeline, so he may have Radical 6 also. I wouldn't be surprised if everybody does, or if everybody just picks it up throughout the timelines and gets infected. Perhaps Cork is the first vector and then it just spreads. Although, if this really is supposed to be a story about how a disease spreads, the writers are completely dropping the ball as far as when Cork would have either talked to people and potentially like coughed or just spread viruses in their face or touched people. Like, I don't even think we go into different AB rooms when we vote. So it's not like Cork touched a screen in AB room that was furthest to the left, and then the rooms got shuffled and somebody else touched that screen and got Radical 6 from that same point. We've only seen one or two incidences where anybody has grabbed the arm of anyone else or held down anyone. And so it almost certainly implies Radical 6 is just airborne at that point, and then everybody gets infected from the beginning of the game. Hurry up, guys, the door's closing. Right.
I'm going.
Which, honestly, that just makes the whole story kind of more boring. Because if there was a trick here that the real goal is not to escape, which it seems fairly obvious the real goal is not to actually just escape this Nonary game. If the real goal is to stop people from getting infected or cure everybody who may have already been infected, where we haven't gotten close enough to even figuring out that is the goal, considering we're approaching halfway through the entire timelines. Although I don't think we actually are halfway through all the entire timelines, because I think it's just going to go on and on and on. Yeah. So, normally this would just take us to the rec room, and if it does take us to the rec room, then easily we can just put in the password and we don't really need to do anything else. 3 doors. Which one should we take?
That seems like kind of a silly question. I mean, they're all locked, aren't they? How can we go through any of them if they're locked?
This thing here's got a lever on it. Maybe that does something.
So, every time Sigma has pulled the handle, it's been the door on the right. So maybe somebody else should pull the handle.
Why don't you pull it and find out?
So Clover tells Timoji to do that? So what door did that just open? Oh hey, looks like the one of them opened.
But only one.
So Timoji opens it, and it's the door in the middle, which is not the garden or the rec room, and we haven't seen the botanical garden. I assume that's what it is.
What's that?
They're probably telling us we should go that way.
Might as well then. Well, I definitely was not expecting that. And so you go through a non-labeled door, and then it takes us into what I think is supposed to be the prep chamber, but it's just labeled PEC. So this is the exit, huh? Still trying to force doors, nothing. Loctite, won't even budge. So what the heck is this
The door
place?
said PEC. Guessing it's not for working out, though.
PEC. Acronym or abbreviation for what? Prepared emergency chocolate, private ecclesiastical commode.
Oh, wait a sec. There's a manual here. I think it explains what this room is for.
What's it say?
Hold on.
I don't know if I'd really
This
trust
facility is
Clover
pressurized,
to be able
maintaining
to
much higher air pressure
read
than the
things
surrounding environment.
correctly, considering we saw how she misread and a lot of things in the pantry in a different timeline. Although, in all fairness, she's almost certainly Japanese and she's reading English.
Airborne viral contagions.
So because the facility is pressurized to keep air always blowing outward, that that means they assume that there is no virus inside the facility. We already know that Radical 6 is in the facility, so the facility's pressurization has failed its goal. What they would have wanted to do is have the pressure inside the facility actually lower, and quarantine rooms and hospitals actually have the ability to be changed one way or the other, usually. I can't attest to every single room in every single hospital. So in this case, a lower pressure would have been the better move to keep the virus in. Although in this instance, it seems like the entire world outside and people inside are infected. So unless you're making an argument that the infection rate and the amount of the virus outside is just considerably higher than it is at the moment inside, it's kind of pointless to have it pressurized either way. But they are saying it's airborne, which kind of kills the fun of it. Like, it should probably be passed through touch.
Quiet. Keep reading, Clover.
So I say, what? He just tells me to shut up.
Right. Airborne viral contagions have necessitated this step, which is intended to prevent contamination of the installation. All persons wishing to exit the facility must do so through this pressure exchange chamber. Once the chamber has been sealed, the pressure can be lowered to match the surrounding environment. Before the PEC can be depressurized, all occupants must be wearing level A hazmat suits to prevent infection. The PEC will not function unless all occupants are wearing appropriate protective equipment.
Whoa, what's going on here? Are they trying to say the air out there is full of some horrible
I don't
virus?
think it's just any virus.
It has to be Radical 6.
Oh man, then that newspaper article was true. Several long moments of silence crawled past, and the three of us just stared at one another, our minds working to make sense of the new information. Eventually Clover shuffled to one of the lockers and opened it.
Is this one of those hazmat suits the manual was talking about?
Yeah, I figure they are.
See, and this is a great example to point out again where Clover with her arm behind her head winking is totally the wrong motion and pose to have in the middle of this big horrific revelation. We won't be able to get into the pressure exchange thing unless we've got those on then.
Getting that room to decompress is the only way we'll get outside.
So where is the actual decompression room?
Have a look. See that lift over there?
Oh yeah. So this elevator must take them below floor B or above floor A. The room's divided into two floors, upper and
We're on
lower.
the lower floor right now. Earlier we were on the upper one.
So there's a whole floor C, obviously, that we haven't seen.
This is the actual pressure exchange.
That's not getting you any higher. So almost certainly this is like a experimental one, or there's some underground tunnels or something.
No good.
Yeah, forcing that door out probably would be a real bad
This
mistake.
one's locked too.
Won't open, huh? Okay, it's probably pointless, but humor me on this. Let's go put on those suits and come back here and try the door again. Maybe just maybe we can get out.
Seem like that's how this thing is supposed to work. But do you really think it'll be that easy?
It would be weird if it is that easy. It also would explain some of the timelines where Clover and Tomoji have just disappeared.
It's hard to believe Zero Senior would make that big of a mistake.
Did some people just escape? Well, let's look around anyway. Yeah. Maybe we'll find something about the virus.
Yeah, good idea.
What are we standing around for then? Get to it.
So this is interesting. Is it going to start us on the bottom floor or the upper floor? Well, seemingly it's going to start us on the bottom floor. Is that a barometer? The needle's in the middle. It says 1.5 atmospheres. Must be the normal pressure for this building. Remember, it said something in the manual about the pressure being higher than the pressure outside. 1.5 seems fairly high. We've got a box. What's in the box? It's all junk. Nothing useful here. Then why even have a box that won't open? It's locked. Yeah, looks like it. It's locked up tight. What are you trying to do? Use X-ray vision. Okay, so nothing there. It seems to me like there's probably a puzzle through all of this to turn on this, whatever that is, statue. You can click here. Everybody on? Yeah. I'm good. Okay, here we go. 2513 is written lower down. So let's just go ahead and check that. Wonder what these 5 cylinders are about. Push the triangular buttons above and below the column to change the image. Change all 5 images as appropriate, then press the L button on the right. Right. Let's do this. Okay. So each symbol represents a number, and that seems like that's almost an exit key. And seemingly clicking on either button toggles. It doesn't potentially send you up higher to like some secret passage or lower. Here's the door. I've already been through. Try and skip through some of this dialogue. One of these protective suits. If we would put this on, we should be able to get into the decompression chamber. Well, let's do it then. Managed to get it on? Yeah. It's a little big on me, but I think it should be okay. I'm ready to go. Good. Should we go then? Yeah, might as well. I'm glad it doesn't put like a mask or something around you. So that it like obscures your vision. This feels weird. I feel like I came here and then went this way and saw this, and then somehow skipped all of this, and then went to this. How would I have done that? This is the one. No, this is different. Yeah, my only concern in potentially skipping some of these like my only concern in skipping some of this stuff would be that there might be a different combination of people and they might say something intriguing or interesting Um, hmm. Hmm. It's a USB cable. You're supposed to plug something into it. Okay. Hmm. And then a pattern. Hmm. Hmm. Machine, some kind of scanner. Interesting. Okay, so we think that might be a Radical 6 scanner. Hmm. Hmm. So there's... Hmm. Hope Quark's alright. What do you think of that? Those lockers just reminded me of him. He loved hiding them when he was this high. Okay. Almost feels like there might be a combination here to all of this. This is a manual I was telling you about. Remember I read it to you? Oh, you mean this thing? How we had to wear the protective suits to enter the decompression chamber? Well, there was another piece of paper in it. It had some kind of drawing on it. What? Okay, so now we've got something new. Outside colors. It's not gonna tell us. This is a chair, right? I call it a bench. Same difference. You put your foot on it either way. Huh. Anyway, you see those symbols on top? Yeah. 6 of them. Maybe it's a clue. I'm not 100% sure. I mean, you could kind of guess this might be one, or this might be one. This could be one. This could be one. It's less likely this is one than this is one. And then it goes in kind of a circle that way. You'd have to assume this arrow means you're going in this direction. Otherwise, then it could also be in a counterclockwise direction. It also could be a cross. It also could just be straight down. And then you have a broken seat being torn. Pipes. Nothing suspicious here. Oh yeah? I bet there's something suspicious about the pipes. Considering how they wouldn't have really bothered to animate them otherwise. But seemingly that's pretty much all you can do at the moment. Unless the key machine there gave some kind of feedback, which we could test that certainly. Like, because if we were to go here and do this is one and this might be one, and then we'll just go ahead and assume that that's 3, and then we'll just go ahead and assume that that's 5, and we'll just go ahead and assume that that is 2. Nope. No feedback there. None of the other puzzles had given any kind of feedback, so that's not super surprising. Alright, let's just see if the door opens. Now that we've got these things on, can we go inside, right? What the heck? The handle still won't move. Maybe the touchscreen on the door unlocks it. What? That's a pain. Why would they do that? Security, maybe. When you select the yellow guide ring, the other ring will appear at other points that you can draw lines to. Select one of these other rings to draw a line connecting the two. Repeat the process until you've connected all 3 pairs. Remember, however, that the lines should not overlap or cross one another. Right, let's do this. Okay. Slightly different puzzle that is kind of immediately spoiled when you just know red to orange, yellow to green, white to blue. So. We need yellow to green. And then red to orange. And then white to blue. Does this make any kind of shape that's recognizable? Nope. And is there any thought that that would potentially have a different solution that would give us a different password? I don't think so. Good job. You did it. Nice work. We should be able to get to this thing open now. No sound effect of the room actually pressurizing. Of course, having a tablet in a pressurized room potentially does run the risk of breaking a tablet fairly quickly. I should probably look at this. A tablet, huh? There's nothing on the screen. I don't think the power's on. Is there a switch or something? Not that I can find. Really? How the heck are we supposed to turn it on then? Take a closer look. If it doesn't have a switch, then, but it does have a USB cord, maybe we plug it in. It'll turn it on. I think so. It would be nice, certainly, to think that the future still is using USB. Okay. So let's make a note here as far as the numbers. 6, 3, 4, 1, 2, 5, Okay, that should be good enough. So we now know how to get the key. Box on the wall. What sort of box? Well, it's not a treasure chest, that's for sure. Maybe it's a fuse full of like electrical circuits and stuff. Forget about the box, look at the door. Do you notice anything? Like what? Like there might be a keyhole in it. This cable's red. And here we have a rabbit. A Model 0 Junior. Looks like it's actually plastic. Yeah, it's inflatable like a beach ball. Well, that's damn creepy for sure. You got that right. So are we supposed to pop him? There's a key up here. So we have a small key. And we have a blue button and a red button. Looks like a barometer. There's a needle in the middle. Looks like it's 1.5 atmospheres in here. I'm guessing the pressure for the whole facility. Remember what Clover read in the manual. Something about the pressure inside being behind high. The pressure inside behind higher than the pressure outside. Man, that's not English. And then that's an awkward way to twist. So let's look at the store. The store is welded shut. Looks like it. How are you so nonchalant? The door, that door and the one we came through that led us here are the only ways out of this room. See? So even if we did decompress this room, we still couldn't go outside. That's right. This is a dead end. No. That's what I was trying to tell you. Didn't I say it wasn't going to be that easy? A welded shut door, though, at least gives you a hint. I feel like you could take something like a key or a tablet if you were trapped in here after the Nonary game, and just every day spend a couple hours scratching around the edges of the welds. It might take you a year or two to amongst the group to eventually break those welds, but metal is metal. It's not permanent. It would be probably better to have had the entire room collapsed or something, or it turned out to be a fake door. But I guess at a certain point, that is the case with a lot of the like blocked off regions of this facility, is that even the 9 door, I think you could easily find something to try and break it eventually. Like humans the humans left behind would have nothing better to do with their time. And I'm not reading out this. Hey Clover, where are you going? I'm going upstairs to take this stupid thing off. It's not like I need it, right? It's hot and it's uncomfortable. I'm out of here. So, Clover's not going to wear the outfit anymore. Which honestly, they probably should. Should all still just wear the outfits and get everybody to wear the outfits throughout the rest of the game. Although that would then start hiding the identity of potential killers. Well, there she goes. What the hell was that noise? I don't know. But I've got a bad feeling about this. I've got a bad feeling about that. Preparation complete. Now beginning decompression. 3, 2, 1. What the F? Why did that happen? Hell if I know. Why are you asking me? We need to get out of here now. Come on. We can see he's blown up like a balloon. God, it's got big. Must be the difference in pressure. If you've ever taken an open bag of chips to the top of a mountain or something, it gets all puffed up like it's gonna pop. Same sort of thing, I guess, but this is just... Look, it might be about to pop. So, the Clover just hit something? My God, what's wrong? The needle's all the way to the left. The pressure here is 0. What? That means we're in a vacuum. Yeah, that's about the size of it. Poop. Without these suits, we'd be toast. Let's go ahead and hit a button. What the hell are you doing? That's the decompression button. It's not going to do us any good now. That should be the pressurization button. Hit it, right. Insufficient power for pressurization. Please route additional power. Well, that's it. That, I guess. So, if Clover is a killer, she's just found a fairly easy way to murder us. It's red cable coming out of this box. Cable's red. Sheet of metal. No good. It's not going anywhere. Alright, well, if we are following this and we assume these junctions don't cross over, then that would kind of mean that the red power cable is going down here, and then if this was a straight connection from this point to this point, it would be going back this way. So that almost certainly means no, it isn't. And it would almost be helpful if there was some X-ray vision ability. Do we have any other item? Just a small key. And like we see some rust here that might imply it's going this way, but then we don't really see any rust here. And then we've got one more here. Oh, he's supposed to possibly use the key to pop. Poke. So we poked it with the key. Wow, that's a funny reason to use the key. Or maybe I didn't even poke it with the key. Maybe I just poked it. It popped. Don't worry. I think that was the point. See, there was something inside. See all kinds of broken things. All that's left of Zero Jr. he gave his life for, or something. When he exploded, I think he bent this metal plate over here. Want to take a look? Is this a doll? Apparently, it was inside the other Zero Jr. There was a Zero Jr. inside of Zero Jr. Ooh, maybe that's a hint towards something. Then we have some colors on this chest. This thing is pissing me off. Well, I don't like it either, but we really don't have a choice, do we? If it's here, it's probably part of this puzzle. Damn, that damn thing's not gonna give us any help getting out of this room. Let's just leave it. We'll come back later. So apparently all that garbage on the floor didn't matter. So did it bend this metal plate? Zero Jr.'s explosion probably knocked it loose. I think maybe we can get it off now. Give me a hand, fine. Oh, so it just rattled all the metal plates. Okay. So, pipe game. Some thick cables. Some thick cables. There's something here. Yellow one and a purple one. Looks like they're part of some kind of machine. This is a laser emitter. What the heck? That sounds like something from a kid's show. Well, what am I supposed to call it? That's what it is. What does it do? Focuses and emits a high intensity laser. They're usually used to transmit energy. Didn't think I'd find them here. One of them here. Whatever. Come on, let's hook it up. Hook it up to what? The end of these cables. Well. More over here. I kind of have to disagree with the idea that a laser emitter would be an efficient way to transfer power in short runs. That seems fairly useless. So can we just do that? And then just do that? Yes, we can. And then we actually need to take that back. Just do that. And then just do that. And just do that. And that loops it all. Badly visually framed puzzle here. What was that? Maybe it's the pressurization system starting up. Should have enough power now. Good, maybe we can get out of here. Like, just badly framed puzzle system. Perhaps they were trying to do a bit of an experiment here. I could certainly see the idea, since they went to 3D models on the characters, that they might have wanted to have more real-world 3D models on the puzzles. But if they were going to do that, then having the characters on rails and not walking around freely in a 3D world creates a odd scenario. Like, the only way I can see this puzzle is this way. And maybe that was the intention, is to try and make it a little bit more difficult because you couldn't see the solution in one easy to recognize view, but that didn't really stop me much. Alright, press it. Press the damn pressurization button. I guess the assumption here is the door would not open. Pressurizing now, or repressurizing now. 3, 2, 1. Notice how sometimes it counts down to 1, sometimes it counts down to 0. You would think an announcer AI would be more accurate there. Look, the needle's back to normal. Well, 1.5. Thank goodness, looks like we did it. So, is there possibly, if this wasn't Clover accidentally or intentionally hit a button to try and depressurize this room, was this a case of there can only be 2 people? Just like when we came in, right? Let's go. I wouldn't be surprised if this actually doesn't work and there is a different code. Otherwise, this is just going to force me to do the same thing twice. PEC outside. Red, orange, yellow, green, white, blue. Is there any way magenta works? No, not really. Not with those same color combinations. Yellow and red equal orange. Green and red don't make white though. Are these supposed to be complementary colors? Blue and white? That doesn't make sense either. Is there literally any way to do this though? Or we could get blue to magenta? Oop. This is harder than I thought. When you select the yellow guide ring, the other rings will appear so you can draw lines. Select 2 of these rings to draw a line connecting to. Repeat the process until you've connected all 3. Remember, however, that all the lines should not overlap across one another. And we had yellow and purple connecting previously. That was it. But that doesn't seem like that's the right solution. Did I need to perhaps solve this some other way in a specific order? Let's try that. Red, orange, and then yellow, green. And then I didn't get the white blue right. We'll start with white and then we'll go to blue. Let's look at our items now. Let's look at this door. So nothing on the panel that would help me there. It's yellow purple. If we were to hit the pressurized button again. I'm fairly confused here. Was there... What else did we get? Nothing. We missed some piece of paper that kind of has to be like somewhere around here. Where would it be? I mean, it shouldn't be this difficult. There should have been a file somewhere. Clover is on the other side of the glass wearing a protective suit. Hey, Clover, Clover, can you hear me? You don't need to yell, huh? The helmets must have a radio. We should have realized that earlier. It would be way easier, frankly, though, if Clover was on the other side of the glass when we saw her. What a bonehead mistake to make in this instance. Oh yeah, I guess that's the excitement of the moment and everything. Looks like you guys are locked up in there. I tried to open the door, but it wouldn't budge. So what should I do? Can you look around to see if there's anything useful? You mean over here? Yeah. You can direct Clover by selecting objects on the other side of the glass. So, yeah, in the first game there was a scene like this, and it wasn't great, and here I think we're getting repeated. It's the gauge says it hasn't changed, showing 1.5 atmospheres. Hey Sigma, what? Does it look like there's something under the machine? Huh? Is there anything in the box? No, it's empty. So there's a... Hey Clover, look under the machine. Here? Yeah. Do you see it? It looks like a binder. Yeah, let's see it. Pick it up. Is there anything in it? Okay, hold on. This is... Hey, what is that? There's a piece of paper in here. Piece of paper. Just like the one I found in the manual. Oh, no, wait. It's a little different. The picture's similar, but I guess it's not the same. What is off? How do I explain this? There are color circles. They're connected to other circles. Not making any sense. Just bring it over here and shove it up against the glass. Right. You found the instruction manual for inside the pressure exchange chamber door. You can view it in the archive. Ah, this is perfect. If we just connect the dots like this. So, terrible design here. It seems like they ran out of time to just have Clover on the other side of the glass so you could see her, and they wanted just to repeat something that they had seen that had been done in the previous game, for no good reason. It was not a good idea in the first game. It's not a good idea in this game. If they want to make that far jump where you control other characters, there should just be timelines where you wake up as a completely different character and play as them, which that would be a much more interesting application of this timeline concept anyways. So it's white to magenta, yellow to red, and blue to, or cyan to green. Okay, so blue to red, or cyan to green. And then white to magenta. What did I do wrong? Cyan to green, yellow to red, white to magenta. Okay. So how do we get yellow to red if we do white to magenta? Cyan to green can't really go up here and hit that. So you have to do that. Yellow to red is right. That's white to magenta. Well, yellow has several different ways it could go. It could go down this way, up this way, and all the way this direction. So let's see how that would really break this out. Okay, this feels like this might spell something. And then we could potentially put this up this way. Just to try and keep as much out of the way that way. And then go this way. This might be some rough depiction of Asian characters or symbol of some sort. It kind of looks like some symbols I've seen in the Myst series. Also might be absolutely nothing. Good work. What's going on? Did you guys unlock it? Yeah, looks like it. Hold on, I'm opening it now. Okay. Welcome back. I'm glad you're okay. Thanks to you, Clover. We would have been toast without you. See, we're like thanking her, but there's a decent chance she did straight up push some button to potentially kill you. Aw, that's okay. You don't need to thank me. And I guess the idea is that the teamwork building here, that doesn't spell anything from the looks of it, is potentially supposed to save people and convince them to work together. Okay, we've got the key opening a locker. There's something in here. Huh. Is this a journal? Let's look. Looks like it's blank. Not much. Wait, there's a slip of paper in here. This is found a sheet of paper with colorful shapes on it. You can view it in the archive. So that's the end of the key. So one would have hoped that the key doesn't unlock some other things. We kind of have a color pattern. There's still plenty of places where 25113 is the code we need. Probably should just make a memo of that. Can we take these off now? Yeah, I think so. I mean, we unlocked the door to the decompression chamber, right? Yeah, no point in keeping them on now. Off they go. So everybody takes off the suits, where arguably I might just keep them on. Ah, feels much better. Clover, you're drenched in sweat. Yeah, you're not thinking creepy stuff, are you? Or hey, you're not thinking creepy stuff. See, once again, the non-voice sections that they're having Clover go more into the lewd direction, which feels awkward because at best she's 18. Just put them back in the locker. Okay. You better not, like, smell mine or something. Very Japanese thought. I'm offended you'd even suggest such a thing. Right, so how many of these won't open? How many suits did we see, by the way? I mean, I feel like we have 9 suits. So, if there was even a pressurization chamber in past the 9 door that had fewer suits, everybody may still be able to escape. And I can't fully blame them for not wanting to wear the suits, but in this kind of emergency situation, I think you'd just put up with that. Okay, so there is at least 9 suits in here. 25113. Should have written that down. Memo. Really does not hurt anything to write down. 2, 5, 1, 1, 3. And then look at this. And then bring up the memo. And so 2 would be the cylinder. See if we can draw a cylinder well enough. And then 5 would be the hourglass. And then 1 is the star. Not a great star there. And star again. Not a great star. And then 3 is the diamond. There we go. So something in there? Looks like a key. Feel like this gland panel is supposed to open. And of course it's locked, so we can't get the key, huh? That'd be too easy. I wonder what the number is. Do you think maybe it's a hint to unlock the panel? 25113, huh? Okay. And so we can just bring up the memo now. Column hourglass star diamond. Let's see. That should be it. And I doubt there's another solution there. Good job. Looks like you were right. Hey, look. So we get a key, which is another small key. Which I guess another small key potentially opens another locker. That one won't open. So I think there's only one locked locker in each group. None in this group. Won't open. So we have a small key. And we have potentially a locker downstairs that we need to open. I feel like otherwise there's just straight up 2 keys you can get in 2 different places, and then there would be puzzles you could skip completely, and that just doesn't make sense. Good, looks like you got it open. Is this a protective suit? Maybe, but it's small and cute. Maybe it's for a kid. So we have now a small protective suit that we could potentially put Quark in. Unless, of course, we're supposed to combine it with that. Which I guess we were. And then it has the number 8 on it. Huh? Did you put the suit on him? Pretty good fit. Hey, isn't this something on the stomach there? Looks like an 8. Yeah. You see, like you'd see on a calculator or something. So, like a 8 segment or 9 segment digit, which we may have to project something onto. So I guess kid is probably the wrong word to have translated that to. It probably would have been better to say baby, because it seems like the suit that we just got is not for Quark, but the doll, and Quark is way bigger than that doll was. Alright, now let's play with this, which probably 2 solutions here. Alright, let's plug this in. Hey, it says something. I'll read it. Inspecting the protective suit. System is still operational in diagnostic mode. Full range of scan is not possible, so small suits must be used for calibrations. Please place the child-sized protective suit in the stand position in the designated location. Touch the screen to begin inspection. So it seems like it... oops, clicked on the wrong thing. Seems like it scans the suit possibly just for holes. Should I put the dressed up Zero Junior doll here? Okay, let's scan. Pattern will display. The pattern on the display is the same as the pattern on the stomach of the stuffed animal wearing the protective suit. Select it and scan the pattern so the device can read the colors in the pattern. Once you have that, enter the 3 number on the right to check the screen. Enter 3 numbers on the right to check the screen and press check. Okay, let's give it a shot. Okay. You lost me, game. As soon as you showed me the screen. Let's see. We have red, green. We have a different color lighting up each time here. Okay. And then we have 1 dot and that. Okay, so I think we may understand this. So the 1 dot wants cyan, red, blue, yellow, magenta, black. Okay. So this is cyan. This is red. This is, I guess, blue. Yellow. Cyan. When I click over here, it's nothing. Red. Blue. Yellow. Magenta. Black tells me it's 6. That's what I'm guessing. There. Next, number 2 wants cyan, green, black, blue, yellow, which I think is pretty much 2. But we'll go through it. Cyan, green, black, blue, yellow would be 2. I hope I'm making sense here. I'm drawing the symbol on the 8-segment display, or the 7-segment segment display in this case, to make a shape and following the color patterns. And then next we want cyan, green, black, purple, yellow, which is almost certainly 3. Cyan, green, black, purple, yellow. 6, 2, 3. See, this would be really, really complicated to actually have to go through all of this a second time. That's really not what I would want to have to pull off. Good job. You deserve a pat on the back. Don't patronize me. Hey, the color's changed. You're right. So we've got one password. This looks just like the passwords I found in the AB room in the infirmary. Yeah, this ought to open the safe. Okay. So then, these color squares on the side here. Green, purple would be 1, 1, and then this would be 7. 117. Let's try that. Right. Green, purple. I mean, it kind of has to be 117 because that would be the only solution that even would make sense. With 3 colors. Huh? Did I solve it? Looks like it. I mean, the colors changed and everything. Huh? This one's different. You think it opens the safe too? Well, no harm in remembering it. Alright, so any reason to take this suit? Then is there any reason to do anything else? Just suspicious pipes, and down below I don't think anything else more suspicious, so I think we have pretty much solved this room. This is the safe, right? Yeah. It's just like the ones I saw in the AB room in the infirmary, so I keep mispronouncing infirmary. So we just type the password and it should open. Everything else looks the same. Not a lot of conversation or witty banter between Tomoji and Clover, like we had in the pantry with Alice and Clover, which definitely probably hints at that this combination isn't going to reveal much as far as the timeline and plot, although it has revealed some things in a few places. Excuse me as I take a moment to drink some water. Let's see. So we'll go moon, star, sun first. And we'll see what we get in here. Because you always get something a little extra. Hooray! It opened. Good job. There's like a memory card in here. What would the memory card plug into, though? Something in the security room or something in some other completely different room? Whoa, what is all that stuff? Hold on. I'll take everything out. Just be patient. Let's see. First off, we get a map. It says floor B. The one we found in the infirmary said floor A. So that means floor A must be the top floor, huh? I mean, if we took an elevator down to get here, yeah, seems like it. Although I guess maybe they're arguing that the second floor of this room is still part of floor B, which that would be hard to believe. I would never believe somebody literally would number floors as groups of floors. That seems illogical. Keep going. There's more in there. This looks like key cards. They've got moons on them. That means they're the moon keys the announcer was talking about. There's 2 of them, just like with the sun key. You take one, Tomoji. Huh? Why? You're a solo. Clover and I only need one. Alright. Thanks. Couple more things. What's this? Looks like a memory card. I feel like I've seen something like this before. But where? I wonder what's on it. Well, unless we can find something to stick it in, we won't be finding it out anytime soon. You could go stick this in the infirmary, and it would probably work. You might also be able to stick it in the AB rooms. Dot 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 dot. Well, we can figure it out later. For now, we just need to take it with us. And what we've got left, all we've got left is the key. Is that the key for the exit? What else would it be? We should be able to open the door. Get the door open now. Notice that the key card we just found, we're not keeping in our regular game inventory. We're instead just holding on to it in the same way that the key that unlocked Kay's suit was being held on to by Alice and not in our regular inventory. Come on, there's no time to waste. Let's move. Well, there's a little time to waste, so let's open up the safe again with the other password, which says memory card for the PEC. I don't know if it really could go in the PC. Unless there's a memory card reader on the tablet, which would be believable, but we didn't see anything like that. We need a sun, and a star. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Phew. Looks like I did it. That did it. I'm misreading some things. It's anyone's guess what kind of wild and crazy information we're going to get from this secret file. Like, half the time it is stuff that is either not mentioned anytime soon, or it is just out of the blue. We have AB Game 1. This refers to the ambidextrous game. A is to choose, the ally, B is to betray. Okay. See, this is all information that would have been very, very nice to have had from the beginning and not given as secret. If you break the rules, your B falls below 0. It does say below 0 in this game. 2-0 or below 0. I think both are true. See, they keep mistranslating it. And penalty certainly feels like it should just be killed. See, is there anything really worth reading here? I don't think so. You could pause now if you want to read. Here they're mentioning scotch, and that scotch is Tomoji's favorite drink. He often claims a little scotch should scratch this itch after returning from work, which annoys Quark. Interesting. Root beer float, he's mentioning that also. A well-known drink made by putting a scoop of vanilla ice in some root beer, also known as a black cow. Interesting. I've never heard of it referred to as a black cow. Maybe that's more of a Japanese thing. Quark has taken to saying root beer floats my boat, which warms Tomoji's heart. See, they're really stretching to fill out a full page there. And we still have a decent number of pages, which definitely goes to show that there's a decent number of traps, escape rooms still to escape from. But not a lot to do here. It'll be interesting to see if they find the treatment room and they put Quark in the treatment room, or if Quark somehow wakes up and is missing. It would be very hard to explain how he's missing when he was knocked out. Okay, right. Let's do this. 3, 2, 1, no 0. It would be funny if every time somebody counts down and says 0, 0 is in the room with you, and every time someone counts down and stops at 1, he isn't with you. But how anybody would have ever figured that out prematurely would have been almost impossible. Why are we still not getting voice acting? Well, I guess this is because this is Sigma talking. Is this another warehouse?
One on the last floor.
There's even a big old door in the same spot where the number 9 door is in the other warehouse.
It almost feels like what they were going to do here is that this was never going to be a video game in the first place with this voice acting, and instead it was going to either be some kind of direct to DVD, direct to the internet, just supplemental anime show. That would explain the voice acting not being in the puzzles. But yeah, it doesn't fully make sense, certainly. True, but it's rusted over. I don't think it'll be opening anytime soon. If it's rusted over, you might be able to break it open.
No lever to open it anyway, I can see.
Of course, they're trying, so I have to applaud them showing that they're trying to force it open. Well, shoot, we couldn't possibly open this thing with our bare hands.
Duh. How much do you think that thing weighs?
You'd have about as much luck trying to lift a pickup truck, even if it was unlocked.
I want to know what those are.
I feel like you could definitely just get a hammer and every day go, I'm going to spend an hour hammering on this until I get frustrated, and then I'm going to hand this hammer over to somebody else who's trapped in here, and they're going to spend an hour or so beating on it. At a certain point, I guess you might run out of energy, food, or injure yourself doing something like that, but yeah. Just looking in the room I'm physically sitting in right now, if I was trapped in this room, I think either by force or by fire, I could easily break through a wall in less than a week, for sure. Probably less than even an hour, since I'm in a residential house and most of the walls just have nothing but 2x4s in between them. It'd be fairly easy to punch through plaster and get to the other side. It wouldn't be fun, certainly. It would probably be painful. Anyways, let's get back to the game. I want to know what those are.
Those white doors?
Are they chromatic doors?
Yeah, seems like it. I mean, look at this. It's one of those things that says lock.
I feel like the fact that the lock has this little triangle next to it implies to me that either you could grab that triangle and twist it, or maybe slide it up and down, or do something to it. Because why would there be this protrusion on the lock at all? Unless it's just supposed to be an arrow pointing. But even if it was supposed to be an arrow pointing to where the door is, why is it protruding from the physical part of the lock? At a certain point, I guess it also gets down to the question, if these doors can have these like holographic nameplates on them anyways, why is there a lock next to the door at all? Why does it not just say lock in front of it? Why does it not just have a big red X with a clock counting down in the middle of the door? Yeah, the logic behind how somebody would have physically designed these devices falls apart.
Yeah. just like the ones next to the other chromatic doors.
Even if the doors were originally designed to not have locks on them, then I feel like at that point you would want to make that obvious and have the lock look completely different from the rest of the technology of the chromatic doors. So you're saying all the chromatic doors for the next round are white?
Yeah, they were different colors before, but...
Guess things have changed for this round.
Before we could discuss the doors any further, a familiar robotic voice crackled over the speakers. I thought that was going to be K for a second.
An Ambidex gate has been opened.
So we're going to get rushed once again.
45 minutes remain until Ambidex game polling closes.
Where are we on the flow at this point? I guess we are going to fairly quickly be pushed now towards the final A-B decision, and one path will probably take us to a dead end, and another path will probably take us to a dead end. What?
One of the other teams opened the gate early.
What in the hell they do that for?
It almost certainly is Dio, and we really have no reason to trust Dio's decision making now that we know he's a bad guy.
Started back yet?
Well, I'm going to leave this here and pause the game for a moment. These long 3-hour episodes are pretty much demanding that, so we'll be back in just a second. Okay, I'm back. Inherently, there is an incompatibility with people's real life and the flow of a lot of games, not just visual novels. Now, certainly in visual novels, they go forever, and they never really tell you that hey, now is a good point to have a break, intermission or anything like that. And that's fairly true for TV shows if you're streaming them on some platform like Netflix that just keeps on showing you episode after episode, or even movies, unless they are extremely long and the director specifically decides to put in a intermission. But that just compounds as an issue, certainly when you're making footage for YouTube, because if the creator of the content making footage for YouTube, me, can't even go a good 3 hours guaranteed, almost certainly that means nobody can actually sit through a video all the way through in one sitting, which that's fine on YouTube. You can always pause a video and come back to it if you do remember to come back to it, but that also hurts the watch time as is calculated by YouTube, and hurts the recommendation chance of a video. So inherently, as a YouTube content creator, I'm probably being slightly penalized for covering a visual novel, on top of it being a niche game that I think fewer people would be interested in probably even engaging with. And that probably also points out why there aren't that many visual novel video game critics out there, or visual novels being played on YouTube or even Twitch. Let's get back to the game though. So somebody opened the AB gate. It was Dio, almost certainly. Dio's gonna feign like he doesn't know that if both sides don't vote, everybody will be killed.
Never mind, White. We just need to get back up there pronto. I'm worried about Quark. We need to hook up with Alice and Kay. The sooner the better.
Right, got it.
Let's go.
If Quark is missing in this scenario, a lot of that needs to be questioned. Yeah, we didn't even see an animation in which the handle was actually taken down, or in which it, which it was pulled. I guess maybe the map. There are like two forms of the map, where one where the triangles are really big, one where the arrows, not triangles, are smaller. So maybe what they're trying to indicate there is that once you flip the switch, the arrows get smaller. It could also be that the switches that get flipped are temporary switches, and the door opens only for a brief second to exit, but you cannot go back that direction. We haven't seen an instance guaranteed where somebody did go in the opposite direction of the arrow that I can recall. We might have, but I just don't remember it. We returned to Floor A warehouse to find only 2 people waiting for us. Kay, who'd gone through the red door, and Dio, who'd gone through the green door. Seriously? So, is Alice dead, Luna dead, and Quark missing? Which, with Kay and Dio, that makes 5, and the 3 people we have, that would make 8. So who am I missing? Yeah, let's see. Dio, Kay, Alice, Luna, Quark, Sigma. Where's Phi? That's the question, I guess. Yeah, Phi is the one I'm missing. Have we literally gone down a path where 5 out of the 9 people are going to be killed in one fell swoop?
Where's Quark?
We took him to the infirmary.
Interesting.
At the moment, Alice, Phi, and Luna are looking after him.
Interesting. So all 3 of them are in the infirmary.
He's all right.
I don't know if I would describe him as all right, but apparently his condition has not worsened, if that's what you mean. He is still resting. However,
I'm going to the infirmary.
Tenmyoji, please, wait.
So is there a possibility here where only 3 people are going to vote and everybody else is going to be at the infirmary and just put their blind faith in the solos and pairs voting? Timoji ignored Kay and took off to run through the yellow door.
Oh dear. He's gone. There was something I needed to tell him.
What did you need
Well,
to tell?
it's not like it matters. The girls will just tell him when he gets there. He ought to calm down once he's seen the kid.
Clover and I looked at one another, eyebrows raised.
What are they going to tell him?
Well, you see...
Dot 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 dot. What?
You found virus medicine in the laboratory?
Yes.
In the infirmary, or is there another place called the laboratory?
Unfortunately, we found only a single vial.
Then we can cure Quark's Radical
So it would
6.
seem.
Well, I guess we should head over to the infirmary and see how he's doing. Come on, let's
Right
go.
behind you.
So everybody's leaving except for Dio, probably.
He should be fine now.
See, this is the infirmary. Wait a minute. So they didn't... Well, the treatment room is the other room I'm thinking of. And then they mentioned a laboratory. So apparently, they didn't find a treatment room. Instead, they went to a laboratory in this timeline, found some virus medicine, then brought Quark back up to Floor A and put him in the infirmary.
It might take some time for him to recover fully. The worst is over.
And this is a better scenario because they are pretty much just on the other side of the yellow door at this point, so they could easily all run to the AB rooms. Luna's voice was quiet as she stepped back from Quark. She held an injection gun with an empty vial. Delicately, she placed it back in the cabinet. Quark had been laid out on a crude cot and was still sound asleep. His breathing was even and his expression was peaceful. Apparently, his hat is just going to be missing in this timeline going forward, which would have been fine for him to have just not had a hat at all, unless there's some secret about the hat that it's like scanning his brain and reading his thoughts and letting him communicate with Junior, Senior, Zero Jr. He looked like any other child sleeping soundly after a long day of doing whatever it is a child's do to amuse themselves. Any traces of insanity he'd shown earlier was nowhere to be found. Yep. It was fairly silly for him to try and kill himself because he had Radical 6, because it seems like Radical 6 would kill you anyways, unless he happens to know that Radical 6 is an incredibly painful death, slow and painful, where stabbing yourself in the chest with a scalpel would be preferable. Assuming he was rational at that time, we make the other assumption that he wasn't rational and was just totally out of it.
Is he really going to be okay?
Yes. We analyzed the vial and confirmed that it was definitely Excelivir. Now that I've administered it,
The Excelivir should eradicate the virus completely given enough time, right?
Yeah, but there's a decent chance everybody else is infected. And unless you can do some kind of transfusion from Quark, which would be tough to transfuse blood from a child to an adult without seriously making the child anemic, there's a decent chance other people have been infected. Sigma potentially, for sure.
yes, that should be the case.
Thank goodness.
I feel like this is as far in the timeline that we've gotten where Alice is still alive,
Yeah, what
And-
a relief.
as far as most timelines where Luna is still alive.
Things are looking pretty sketchy there for a while, that's for sure.
Interesting, Phi is doing a different pose with her hand across her face in the background there, and that's not something we've seen used before that I recall. Yeah, and we're gonna have a lot of that where I say that I recall, because a lot of this game is just going in one ear and out the other. I felt some sort of tension dissipate from my shoulders. I let out a breath I hadn't realized I'd been holding. We weren't out of the woods yet, but at least Quark was safe. Phew. Tomoji let out a long, shaky sigh and lowered himself onto the empty beds. He rubbed his hands wearily across his face, and I thought I saw the glint of tears.
Alice, you and Kay, I don't know what to say other than thanks. You saved his life. I don't know the words to tell you how much that means to me.
Oh, please. It was nothing, really. We just happened to be the ones who went through the red door.
Where is Kay? He's not in here.
He's still in the warehouse. Dio and Kay stayed behind.
They went there to wait for you guys while we came back here.
There's a lot of trust going on
We
right
figured
now.
someone should explain what was going on so you wouldn't come back to an empty warehouse.
So D and K's were the ones who opened the AB
Not
gates?
both of them. There was only one door open.
Well, we should get back and tell them how Quark's doing. Kay will want to know at least.
Yeah, you're right. But starting the AB game just starts the 45-minute countdown. Going in there and locking yourself into a room and voting doesn't speed up that timer. All it would potentially do is, if you were paired and you went into a room and locked yourself into a room, is it eliminates the chance of your partner changing your vote or pressing the button before you. Which Dio, I think, is partnered with Phi. Maybe. I don't even know. Once again, it would be very nice if the menu told us this stuff always, or there was some indicator always on screen that you could find. I nodded and head back to the other side of the room. I was nearly there when Tomoji suddenly spoke.
That's right.
That's right.
You know that memory card we found?
Yeah, memory card. This thing?
Yeah. I think I know how we can take a look at what's on it. What? You don't remember?
Dot dot
There's
dot.
a memory card just like it that we used to solve the puzzles in here.
Yeah, he's right. There's a slot next to the screen. Should work for this one too.
It's kind of crazy, particularly in the future, for there to be so many different types of tablets, monitors, computers that all seem to have different kinds of memory cards and different kinds of things, as very much a video game conceit that would not really exist. Almost certainly, one would assume in 2038 that everything was Wi-Fi and wireless, and you could potentially just take a memory card and stick it on a table next to a computer, and the computer would be able to read it. Oh yeah, there is. There it is. Right, yeah. Well, let's give it a shot.
Yeah, I want to see what's on it.
So everybody except for Kay and Dio are going to see what's on this, which this would probably be some incriminating information if I was to guess. Or just something really confusing. Okay, just give me a minute here. I also wonder, since it seemed like those memory slots were reversible, if you actually could flip it and get different information on it, although I don't know why you would design memory cards like that. I slid the card into the slot next to the screen. No sooner had I done so than an image of a waveform popped up on the screen.
Is there an audio file on here?
Apparently, there's a bunch of gibberish letters at the bottom of the screen and a bunch of numbers on the right, which 0 hertz to 30,000 hertz sounds a little excessive but not insane. But then the waveforms themselves don't seem to really coordinate that way unless the darker part is the waveform, which I guess it is. I was looking at it the opposite direction and thinking that the lighter parts were the waveform. Also feels like it's been specifically highlighted to say only part of an audio, play only part of the audio.
Why don't we turn up the volume a bit?
Was there a volume button somewhere? Luna tapped a few things on the screen and a bar began to move across the screen. So apparently Luna does know how to use this device more than other people. Before long, a voice drifted out of the speakers.
This is Control. How's it going over there?
Interesting. So we're getting voice acting from a character who is potentially not even named in the credits.
Bet you missed the sound of my voice, huh?
Hmm.
Well, I gotta be honest. It's getting pretty lonely over here, too.
Is this going to be the revelation that they're actually on the moon or something?
Feeling kind of like howling at the moon. Lone wolf style. Speaking of which, I'm looking at it right now. The old girl is beautiful. Never seen a moon this full. And that color.
So is this like an audio file from what is happening right now?
Tonight's that eclipse, remember? What a way to end 2028, huh?
Well, I guess maybe this is confirmation that it's 2028. Or this is perhaps confirmation that it's not 2028, depending on how people want to interpret this.
Moon's this amazing red.
I thought we were in 2038.
It'd be kind of ominous. Wish you guys could see it too, but sorry, forgot. You're supposed to be on Mars, aren't you? So, how are Phobos and Deimos looking right now?
Those are, I guess, moons of Mars.
Sure hope I'll get to look up at them someday too. Anyway, over.
I wouldn't be surprised if there is just naturally some people on Mars in 2028, though.
Hey,
In this time, in this world, anyways.
talk to me, guys. What? You gonna play hard to get because we haven't talked in so long? Enough jokes, all right? Knock it off. Where are you guys? Is there something wrong with the radio? You're saying everything's green? Well then, what the hell's going on here? Why aren't they responding?
Be funny if Radical 6 was a virus that was brought from Mars. Although I guess that really wouldn't matter much.
Radio feeds online. Look, you can see all 9 of them, 3 at each table. What? Someone hacked our feed?
Alright, someone hacked a feed.
What do you mean this isn't live? An old clip on repeat.
That sounds like Alice.
Oh, thank God. You really had me worried there. What happened?
6 of us are dead.
Yeah, that sounds kind of like Alice, but that may just be the same voice actor in the English translation playing a different woman.
What?
Counting myself, there are only 3 left.
How? Why are...
They were killed.
What?
I guess you could say I killed them. No, that's not quite right. Not just them. Not just these 6. All of them. All 6 billion. Soon, I will have killed 6 billion people.
Are you there? Respond! Damn it. This is Control. I repeat, this is Control. We have an emergency situation. We have an unconfirmed report of 6 deceased test subjects. Deploy rescue and escort teams to the test site immediately. Shit. What the hell happened in there?
So that doesn't really tell us much, but it might mean we're on Mars. This might be the test site. Maybe this is where Radical 6 starts. But then the pressurization on the facility doesn't make a lot of sense there. Or the idea, and we already saw an ending where we saw that the virus had broken out. So that doesn't make full sense. Is that it?
Yes.
What on earth was that?
Any ideas? I got only frowns and shaking heads in response. Only one person showed a reaction other than stunned confusion. Tomoji. Long after the audio ended, he stared at the screen deep in thought.
Do you know something, Tenmyoji?
Tenmyoji.
Yeah, I think I know what that was. It's probably a transmission from the Mars mission test site.
Mars?
Well, it was a transmission, I think, mostly to the test site.
I'm sorry, what? You mean some kind of space travel?
What kind of test site was it?
Did you know that the government is developing spaceships with particle annihilation engines?
Do we really need more red herrings and more jargon?
These ships would be able to get humans to Mars a lot faster than old chemical rockets. But they don't want to just send a manned Mars mission off half-cocked. That was the idea behind this test. They built a whole complex on this old Air Force base in Nevada.
Okay.
The deal was that it would be a simulation of a manned mission to Mars with a crew of 9 men and women. They'd monitor the whole thing and use that data to plan the real mission.
So we may actually be on Earth at that test site. So what we just listened to is a transmission from that project.
Why is something like that here?
Don't know why. We found it in the safe. No explanation. Dollars to donuts, it's got something to do with Zero's plan.
You mean we were meant to hear what was on that card?
Yeah. More and more in this timeline in particular, it feels like everything you find in the safe is just a prop to act as a red herring and not reveal anything. Even the key that seemed like it would unlock Kay's suit didn't actually unlock Kay's suit in the timeline we had it.
All very interesting, but how exactly do you know about all this?
Oh, about the simulated Mars mission?
Yes.
I was involved with the project.
So this guy's working for NASA, basically, or
To create as accurate a simulation
some kind of
possible.
whatever government space program.
That meant we'd need to simulate the radio silence we'd experienced during conjunction.
What's a conjunction?
It means 2 things in space are close to each other. In this case, we're talking about a superior conjunction, where Mars and Earth are on the exact opposite sides of the sun. So unless we've got some sort of relay, there'll be a period of time where we won't be able to communicate with each other. What we heard on that card was when the simulated conjunction was scheduled to end.
That's when they died.
Now, we don't know that. They could have died long before that conversation. All we know is that's when it was discovered.
So 6 of the test subjects died, right?
Yeah.
But he says this is a test. It could still be it's still totally believable that this is like way in the future, and this isn't actually the test. This is actually the implementation of a Mars mission. Well, do you remember what she said? There's something about how she didn't just kill 6 people. She said 6 billion. What the heck did she mean by that?
Just what the hell happened there?
Yeah, if they were actually on Mars, how would a virus make it all the way back to Earth? Tomoji frowned and looked down at the floor. We were all silent as he paced slowly back and forth across the room. At last he stopped, raised his head and spoke.
The truth is that there's a chance a virus escaped from the test site.
Were there viruses at the test site? Why?
A virus? Wait, you don't mean...
Yeah, Radical 6.
What? How can that be?
I'm just telling you what I know, okay? Nobody's sure how Radical 6 got in there in the first place, but one of the subjects might have been infected when they entered, or the virus itself might have been an intentional part of the simulation.
Why would it be an intentional part of the simulation?
Test site deaths became the index case for a pandemic. Anyway, prevailing wisdom says it got out somehow, and once it was out, it spread pretty quick.
I mean, this is good conjecture, but that's all it is.
And it killed 6 billion people?
No, not directly. Best numbers put only a third or so of those deaths as directly caused by Radical 6. The other 4 billion died from the collapse caused by the deaths of that first third. The whole world just fell apart.
So he seems to have known about all this, whereas none of that happened in the few days it seems like I was kidnapped. Which is just more evidence to this not actually being the year they think it is. I guess the other indication here is that there was, in 2038 in this story, more than 7 billion people on the planet, or 6 billion people on the planet, which would be roughly the estimate of the number of people in 2020 in the real world. Well, damn, I have a lot of questions. I don't even know where to start. I don't even know where to start. Knowing where to start. Well, no, take that back. Explain that date. Unless I heard this wrong. The day the Radical 6 got out was December 31st, 2028.
Yeah.
But the day I got grabbed by the guy in the gas mask was December 25th, 2028.
Me too. Christmas Day.
Same is true for
I
Phi.
was kidnapped on Christmas too.
Clover and I were taken 3 days earlier, on the 22nd.
So we're getting full timelines in which everyone was grabbed.
Yeah.
And you see what I'm saying, right? The recording was made close to a week after we were all picked up. What in the hell is going on here? That thing is from the future?
See.
And so he's just about to reveal something, and once again the story requires them to make everybody run the vote, and they forget about the whole conversation and don't get back to it.
All players, please enter your votes.
This game is very tropey. A lot of the tropes may be its own tropes, or its own little variation on its own tropes, but it's very redundant in what it does.
Non-voting parties will automatically ally.
We're out of time. We need to go back to the warehouse.
Wait, you haven't answered.
Don't care. I need more than 10 minutes to explain everything. Half-assing it is just going to make you more confused. Now get moving. That's enough.
But
Shut your damn hole or I'm picking betray.
okay.
Hey, come on now.
Fine. Do what you want, but I need to get back to the AB rooms. I'd like to stay with Quark. He seems to be doing all right.
I'll stay here with him. Fi can do the voting for our pair.
So Fi is going to
I can trust her.
vote, and Luna's going to stay.
All right with you?
Yeah, sure.
Well, if you'd be willing to do that, I'd be much obliged. Thanks, Luna. Take good care of him.
Of course.
So
I'll make sure everything goes fine.
fewer people are going to be voting this time, while people are still alive. Tomoji gave one last nod and then turned and dashed out of the infirmary. Well, that's that, I guess. We should probably be going too.
You'll just have to wait to hear the rest of what he has to say later.
I suppose when you see Fi and Alice next to each other in this scene in particular, Alice does seem like she is way taller. And we know Fi says she's 20. Alice is hundreds of years old, but she probably has the body of a 25 to 30-year-old. And oddly, I feel like even Clover is taller, although she does have the big puffy hair to make an adjustment there. So it seems like Fi is particularly short.
I'd rather just get it all out in the open now. There's not much we can do.
Let's get going then.
I'd like to see Clover next to Fine and see how their heights line up. That may just be a case in which the 3D models are not consistently being placed at the same height, where I feel like 2D animators would be much more careful about that. We return to the warehouse to find only Kay. In this instance, Kay is very zoomed in and makes him look extremely tall. I explained what had happened with Quark, then glanced around the room. Hey, where's
He's
Dio?
gone into his AB room.
Already?
Indeed.
Then he opened the first AB gate, right?
Of course.
This is bad. I won't be able to talk with him. This is going to limit my choices.
You've only got one BP left, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Luna's the same.
If Vi chooses ally and Dio picks betray,
Fi and Luna will be penalized.
And if he does that, he knows that he'd be killing them, and suspicion, I mean, straight on guilt would be placed upon him. So this really kind of boils down to, does 5 vote betray and then it's 0-0, or does 5 vote betray and get 3 points back, or does somehow Dio and 5 both decide to vote ally and get 2 points?
I don't have a choice. I'll have to pick betray. The risk with ally is just too high.
Hey Alice, don't you have 1 BP too?
That's right. But Kay and I will be playing against Quark.
and he'll just default to ally. I guess you don't need to worry about getting penalized then, huh?
But what if Alice and Kay choose betray?
You needn't worry. That will not happen. Even though, as you have told me, Quark is recovering, he is still weak. Moreover, he is only a child. To betray an innocent child would be...
Yeah, that would be unthinkable. Even if you ignore his age or condition, it's hardly fair to take advantage of someone who can't vote.
So you'll vote
Yes.
ally.
Of course.
I believe him for the moment.
Shall we go?
Yes.
Kay and Alice nodded to one each other and disappeared into the AB room second from the right. Is that important information? Or could you have just shown that visually? Without saying anything, Fi turned and walked into the room just left of theirs. I imagine if this animation is shown multiple times, it always starts on the right and then works its way to the left. That left only myself and Clover and Tomoji.
Do you remember what you said to me when you chose the blue door? Something about how you'd convince me to choose ally? Seems like now would be the time to let me know how you're going to convince me.
Good question. Well, it's not that complicated. I promise you that Clover and I will vote ally. That's it, pretty much.
I see.
Tomoji has 6. I have 1. Clover has 6.
And you figure I'll believe you because you've only got 1 BP. Once you've told me that you plan to ally, I won't be able to choose betray. Since if you're telling the truth...
You'll kill me.
Not a bad plan, but it assumes that I've taken killing you off the table. Seems like a risky bet for you.
I disagree. Clover's BP is 6. If you ally and we betray, then she'll have enough points to escape, right? She could run off through the number 9 door as soon as this round is over.
Never.
Interesting. So there's this balance between 1 BP players and 6 BP players, where if you keep the 1s and 6 together, then it creates this scenario I hadn't considered. That's easy for you to say, but think about it from my perspective. Sure, you might not, but you also might. If I guess wrong, that's a pretty big loss for me.
Well, what if Clover tries to seduce you to get what she wants?
Now we're going back into the weird, perverted conversation. What?
Huh?
That's just an example. What I'm trying to say is that once you two are in that room, Clover might try and make some sort of bargain with you. I'm asking what you're going to do if that happens. Are you sure you'll still choose ally?
Seduce me, huh?
Hey! What are you staring at, you perv?
Yeah, I guess looking at Clover here, if you eliminate the big hairdo, she is fairly short also.
There's no way on earth I'd do anything like that. Ugh, as if. In your dreams, creep.
Well, that's that then. Not gonna lie though, I'm a little disappointed.
So I can trust you. You're gonna choose ally.
Yeah,
You can trust us.
Promise.
of
We
course.
promise.
All right. I guess I'll vote ally too then.
3 minutes remain until Ambidex Game polling closes.
It kind of sucks that you make these promises that you're gonna vote ally, and then you're forced to play the game to see all the timelines, so you inevitably will break these promises you make regardless.
Trusting you.
Like, most role-playing games, and this is probably nowhere close to actually being a role-playing game in most people's mind, allow the player to actually play the role and lock in their decisions and have the character act the way that you would want them to act. It kind of ruins that immersion when the choices are forced upon you and you have to do everything. Sure, there are people that have played Skyrim hundreds of times and played every single possible role, or most of the possible roles, as good characters or bad characters in something like Skyrim. But most players don't play that. I imagine the number of times an average person who has played Skyrim is 1.5 times, maybe 2. Personally, I've only played it twice, and some of the DLC I've only played once. Tomoji gave a curt nod, then turned and strode into the secondary AB room from the left. I think comparing this game to Skyrim is definitely unfair on many levels, but it does also make an interesting comparison how Skyrim made these giant, procedurally generated, often buggy dungeons, and made giant land masses and giant storylines that weren't procedurally generated and were decently written to make a very long game with relatively little noticeable repetition, whereas this game gives you a giant storyline in an incredibly small and limited play area world, and there is a massive amount of obvious repetition. Well, let's get to it. Yeah, the only thing that I think could go wrong here is if we found out Clover was actually a killer and she just like knocks you out or kills you and betrays. So we're just gonna have the conversation outside of the room and then vote fairly quickly inside the room.
Hey, Sigma, I wanted to ask you something.
Yeah, I feel like the characters' heights probably are not being consistently depicted. A lot of that may have to do with the background you're in. If you're in a big warehouse, it's easy to make a character look smaller. If you're in a small AB room, it's easy to make the character look taller. What's up?
Could you pick Betray for me?
So immediately she tries to get you to click betray. What?
I could try and, like, tackle you. But you're so big and strong, you'd probably just throw me on the ground and that'd be it.
See, she sort of sounds like she's trying to seduce you, and yeah, I guess our character is 20 years old, and at best Clover is 18-year-old, so there's not a huge gap there, but I think there's a big enough gap. Yeah, well,
So I thought I might as well just ask you really nicely. Oh, I mean, I'd be happy to, pay you back. If you just pick Betray for me, then I'll listen to anything you say.
yeah, she's making some lofty promises. Now, why would Clover, knowing she's been through 2 previous Nonary games, why would she potentially leave Alice behind unless her and Alice agreed to betray in this round already so that they could escape, leaving everybody else behind? And that just does not feel like in character with Alice and Clover. So it almost implies that Clover might be zero. Anything? Yep.
Anything. So think carefully, okay?
See, and as a YouTube content creator, I'm questioning here, since I have to go through the betray level, am I going to literally betray in the next timeline, and then we're gonna get some weird 3D polygon, like, I don't know, sex scene, or like topless shot. I feel like this game probably wouldn't go as far as a sex scene. It probably, if it's going to have Clover actually pay back, which she probably won't, she would probably just run through the 9 door like Dio did. At best, it would be like a scene of her underwear, or maybe they'd be willing to show some boobs with nipples, but because the game is already fairly flippant about showing side boob and cleavage and under boob. So think it over carefully.
Ally, you're trusting him with your life.
Yep. And if he chooses betray, it's all over.
Are you really sure you can trust that old fart?
It's almost. This would be a better argument if Clover said, "You should really think about this. He could kill you just now, and I wouldn't be able to avenge you in any way." Hey, now that's not very nice.
The only safe choice is to pick Betray.
But if he chooses ally and we don't,
I'll have 9 BP. But you don't need to worry about that. Even if I do get 9 BP, I won't just go and open the number 9 door all by myself.
I have a hard time believing that. It's not in Clover's character, as far as what we've seen up until this point, to think that she is a manipulative, like, child that just seduces men to get her way. If that's how they wanted to write her, that's fine. At a certain point, that shouldn't probably be Clover from the previous game, and it should just be a new character. A lot less is known about Alice, so it would be believable if Alice was doing that, particularly in the fact that she's basically topless in the whole game. But yeah, this just does not feel in character with her.
I mean, Alice wouldn't have 9 points yet, and I can't leave her behind. Please, will you pick Betray?
20 seconds remain until Ambidex Game polling closes.
Interesting, it's 20 seconds now. I don't think ever been 20 seconds before. So I guess the assumption here is that the announcer is just constantly announcing numbers and times, and you're just not paying attention to it. Voting machine was in front of me. I didn't have much time to think. Would I keep my promise to Tomoji and pick Ally, or would I betray him for Clover? And
If you just pick Betray for
yeah, we're getting a flashback.
I'll listen to anything you say.
In all fairness, too, if I was a female who was trying to seduce a man, I would probably, in a death game scenario like this, offer up a lot more as a good faith. I would probably immediately, once in the AB room, take off my top and take off all my clothes and stand there just naked and say, if you choose Betray, you can have all of this. And potentially I might even try and use my body to if Sigma was going to try and just ravish her there, seeing her naked, and not even vote, that might work to your advantage, because I could potentially, if I were Clover, initiate sex and then roll around, as it were, and manipulate my body close enough to the voting machine to hit the Betray button. Even in that scenario, it would at the very least distract Sigma and give me a chance as Clover, because if Clover right now was just gonna try and rush the screen, I think Sigma would be able to stop her. Of course, I don't think a game would show that. In the end, there was only one possible answer.
3, 2, 1.
Right, so we'll choose Ally, as much as the pervert in me wants me to choose Betray. We'll see that later.
Round 2 of the Ambidex game has been completed.
See, yeah, almost certainly both of these endings don't matter.
Results will be displayed in the warehouse.
What's weird here is looking at the flow.
For your participation.
It doesn't feel like anybody's gonna die in this timeline. So how's the game gonna end?
Ambidex gates now.
Like, it almost feels like Tomoji's just gonna explain that the virus is outside and that they shouldn't leave at all, and everybody just decides to stay there forever. Either that or Tomoji chooses Betray. And if that's the case, then I feel like the injection needles should just inject me right now and kill me before we even see this screen.
Please direct your attention to the results screen.
So, Ally, Betray with Fio and Dio, and Ally with Tomoji, which that gets Alice to 3, K to 8, Quark to 8, Phi and Luna are both at 1, and Dio is at 6. because Dio can't be trusted ever, which that inherently implies that there's a very little chance that Phi and Luna are going to escape in this timeline. And then Sigma and Clover and Tomoji are allied, so I'm up to 3, and Clover and Tomoji is up to 8. That potentially means in the next round, if we made it to a next round, 4 out of the 9 people would actually be able to escape. Dio, if he betrayed, would be able to escape, and Sigma and Alice would not be able to escape.
Points have been assigned or subtracted.
But nobody betrayed, so this is almost certainly a game in which I'm trying to keep everybody's score below 9 until everybody gets 9.
Please check your bracelet to see your.
Of course, the scenario changes every time somebody's murdered. It almost feels like we are actually going to go through the white doors, the white chromatic doors in this story. That would logically be the case. But it doesn't seem like that's really what's going to happen. Well, it seems like I made the right choice.
Only did what I said I would.
You really helped me out. Thanks.
Say the same thing.
I could still easily be betrayed and murdered in the next round.
No need for thanks.
The corner of his mouth twitched into a grin. I felt myself smile a little in response. Clover, on the other hand, looked less than pleased.
That was a bad choice, Sigma. And after I told you I'd listen to anything you said.
And what she means by listen as in she would do anything he said, I'm sure. ...
Whatever.
She sighed heavily, shot me one less annoyed look, and then stalked off. Across the room, Dio and Phi were already confronting one another over their own results.
You tried to kill me and Luna. Can't say I'm surprised.
Said, yeah, we know Dio's a bad guy.
Now, don't give me that. You know exactly what I was doing. I knew you weren't stupid enough to pick ally. You defend yourself with betray, just like I would. Wait, where's Luna?
Where is
In
Luna?
the infirmary, looking after Quark.
Is that where Alice went to?
Alice? No, she went into one of the AB rooms with Kay.
Yes, we did indeed enter together.
What do you mean enter
When
together?
the doors opened, however, she left, somewhat unsteadily, in the direction of the cyan door.
She left the warehouse?
Weird.
Indeed,
Without even checking the results?
correct.
How in the world is she gonna end up murdered in this scenario?
There's little reason to check them.
Yeah, it's not like Quark was gonna betray you.
Indeed.
And you two still choose ally. Man, what a pair of bleeding hearts.
If you say so. Being mocked for my compassion is a small price to pay for retaining my humanity.
Where did Alice run off to?
While we were in the AB room, she mentioned being quite tired. Perhaps she went to one of the cabins to rest.
Oh, well, I guess that would make sense.
So, if she found the knife this time and then went off to the crew quarters, there's very few people that are unaccounted for at the moment that she could be murdered. But honestly, she might be murdered, I guess, at any point after this in the crew quarters. An ominous rumble filled the warehouse. And these visual novels really go to point out how
The
I am
Ambidex have
not
closed.
super experienced in pronouncing bigger words out loud. I've read them, certainly. I know what they say, and I have heard them spoken before, so I know the correct way to pronounce them most of the time, but it's easy to stumble over these long syllable words.
Round 3 of the Ambidex game will be the star round. Star keys are required to open the gates.
It almost feels like the room should just fill with gas
No set limit on usage of
and
the
kill
star
everybody
keys.
in this scenario. That's like the only way this story
Ambidex
ends.
gates can be opened as many times as the players wish to open them.
We can open the gates as many times as we want.
That means the star keys can be used to play the AB game any number of times. If I understood that announcement correctly, that is.
Hey, didn't Zero Jr. say something about this?
As soon as the gates close, your colors get all shuffled up automatically.
Yeah. Zero pretty much tells them that they could play as many rounds earlier.
The pair and solo assignments hop around
So it's
there, too.
only really a case of would the people in this group cooperate, and they kind of unfairly picked or allowed Dio to be in this group so that there would be at least one person that wouldn't cooperate almost no matter what. And Phi is certainly not that cooperative either. Yeah, I did. Can you guys show me all your bracelets? Want to see what our colors and groups are this time. Within moments, the Silveristas were extended for me to exam. So, why is this going so slow here and not just announcing what we're seeing? Because whose wrist am I looking at right now? Is this Clover's wrist? That's Sigma's. That's obviously K's. Is this Sigma's or is this Tenmyoji's? Or is this Dio's? Whose wrist is that? Huh. It looks like all the colors are weird. Clover's a cyan pair. Phi's a magenta pair. But Tenmyoji's a yellow pair.
Solos are red, green, and blue. K's red, Dio's green, and you're blue.
Okay. And how are we supposed to group up for the chromatic doors? I think they're going to be white this time.
Yes. Dio told me about them. Very interesting.
Yeah, they're white, all of them. I had a good look while I was waiting for Sigma to show up down in the warehouse.
It could be a case that the white door is literally open for anybody. And that it doesn't matter. That could be the trick. Instead of pairing the colors up. You should have seen them too, Phi.
Yeah, I did. You're talking about the doors in the floor B warehouse, right?
Yeah, so lay it on us. How are the groups going to shake out this time? I guess maybe they're just going to skip a lot of stuff and we're going to just immediately jump to the chromatic doors. That might be nice. Option A. Well, this is different and this is really dark again. And these colors move around depending on different depictions of this. Tomoji, yellow, and me, blue, form one group. With whoever is paired with Tomoji. Phi, magenta, and Dio, green, would form another group. Phi and Dio will just betray each other again if they did that. Clover, cyan, and K would form a third group. Clover potentially would betray K in that case, although it may not really matter at that point. They could just ally.
Huh? Wait, you mean there's only one option?
Is that the only option?
Yeah.
Interesting. Why is that the only one option? It's because all the pairs are secondary colors, I guess.
There's no other way we can group up to make white.
Assuming the doors actually have to be grouped up that way.
Alice, Luna, and Quark aren't here to show us their bracelets, so we don't know for sure what their colors are. But it's pretty clear they'll all be pairs, since none of the pairs here have a partner.
So there'll be yellow, magenta, and cyan, right? So interestingly, this does at least move us to that third escape room,
Right.
which we weren't able to do in any of the previous timelines.
All right, what now? We've got plenty of time until those white doors open.
And they've got basically nothing to do also because in this timeline Quark is not missing, so unless they want to go and investigate other areas or look for more of a cure to Radical 6 for other people, there's kind of nothing to do. I feel like half the people would just go hang out in the infirmary.
I'm gonna go find Alice.
Of course.
And if Alice is not murdered, there's then no motivation to bring everybody to investigate that. Clover gave her a shrug and the two of them headed through the cyan door.
Do I really need to say it?
The infirmary, right? You're gonna go check on Quark. He gave me a nod and trotted his way through the yellow door. That almost doesn't that at that point leave only me and Kay and Dio together? So if Kay leaves the room, I wouldn't be surprised if Dio tries to murder me. What are you guys gonna do?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna head over to the lounge and have a drink.
Interesting.
You wanna tag along, Kay?
Are you making fun of me? I find it rather hard to drink with this mask on.
Ah, right, of course. My bad. Well, I'm out. Later.
Interesting he doesn't invite Sigma. Drinking alone is pretty frowned upon in Japanese culture. With a lazy wave of his hand, Dio slouched off toward the magenta door. Took me a moment to realize Kay was following him.
Hey, what is this? You following me?
No, you must be mistaken. I hope to investigate floor B further. There are still several rooms I haven't visited.
Okay. You don't have to tell me your life story. See ya.
The conversation ended as they reached the door and stepped through it. Dot. Alright, what should I do?
Tonight's that eclipse, remember? What a way to end 2028, huh?
Of course, I need to get the rest of the story out of Tin Myoji. Yeah, even I had kind of forgotten about that story. The words were scarcely out of my mouth before I set off at a dead run down the hallway toward the infirmary. There's nobody here. The room was completely empty. I edged forward and peeked around the partition. There he was, Tin Myoji. He was standing next to Quark and apparently oblivious to my presence, looking down at something in his hand. A picture. Must have made some small noise because he suddenly looked up and saw me and hastily shoved the photo back into his pocket. So he did have something in his pocket, unlike everybody else who had nothing. What was that? It was a photo of something, right? Was it yours?
It's got nothing to do with you.
The old lady's dead body is also behind that partition, remember? But all of the stuff we had with us when we got grabbed was taken away. Why were you hiding it?
Why should I tell all of you about one measly photo?
Anyway, where's Luna?
I asked her to leave. I wanted to be alone with Quark for a bit.
So why are you here?
Why are you here?
Sorry. I'm reading out Tomoji's part. I wanted to hear the rest.
What? What the hell are you talking about?
Talking about the simulated manned mission to Mars. We heard the recording about it.
Any idea what you're talking about?
He's just gonna play dumb?
I'm getting old. Memory's not what it used to be.
Is this true, or is he just joking?
Forgetting a lot of stuff lately.
Oh, is this literally going to be a case where we just go through some timelines where people totally forget things, or they just don't remember things from other timelines so they can't talk about it? Hey, nice try, pal, but you're not getting away with it this time. You remember something, alright. You remember so much you told me it'd take more than 10 minutes to tell it all. Dot 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 dot.
Really sure you want to know?
I would argue it's bad writing to have a character even jokingly pretend like he can't remember something in a story that has a major gameplay conceit of people remembering things and forgetting things. Huh?
I'll tell you, and then you'll regret it.
Maybe.
You wish you'd kept your fool mouth shut. Just think about all the hopes you've got for the future, and all the happy memories of your past. What if what I have to tell you makes everything you've ever believed ring hollow, and the whole world just crumbles around you?
I still need to hear it.
Sure you want that?
Hey, come on. You don't need to threaten me.
This isn't a threat. I'm being honest here. Are you really, truly prepared?
Well, of course. I never got the chance to say I am. Is the flow going any longer? No, so far, no. So you still don't get any more information because you just get interrupted again. Before I could fly explode in the room, her face a mixture of anxiety and fear.
Good. There you are.
Did something happen?
Alice is... Look, just come with me, all right? She's in the number 2 cabin.
Yeah, without waiting for a response, Fly spun around and ran back out of the room. Tomoji and I exchanged a quick confused look, then leapt up and took off after her. At what point would Dio have been able to run through the lounge, go all the way back to the there's a scalpel in your chest this time. Interesting. So did Luna kill her this time? Like, the timeline doesn't really feel lined up well at all that either Dio or Luna could have killed Alice, and perhaps it is just Alice's fate that she gets stabbed no matter what in every timeline. Alice. Why would Luna kill Alice, though? Would Quark have been awake at any point to have been able to do this? First thing I saw when I stepped through the door was the blossom of red on her chest. I felt it as if I walked straight into a brick wall. I stopped short, my body refusing to move. No. Why did this happen? Forced one shaking foot forward, then the next. My legs began to buckle, and I put my hand against the wall to steady myself as my heart thundered through my chest. Is any of this different, or is this just the same stuff? Calm down, calm down. This looks pretty bad. But you don't actually know anything yet. Yeah, that's right. Maybe it's not too late. Maybe we can still save her. Then at last I pressed my finger to her neck. Those hopes were dashed. No pulse. Clearly she wasn't breathing either. Her pupils had dilated hideously, making her face seem inhuman. It pretty much implies that Clover did this. No, it's not true. Why? Then I noticed it. All the blood must have distracted me. Interesting, I don't think we get a zoomed in image of the knife ever. There's a scalpel buried in her chest. Judging by the position of the handle, she had been stabbed through the heart. And she's looking at the angle of the scalpel. It kind of feels like she was stabbed from below, so it would have had to have been Clover or Quark instead of being stabbed from above. But that's just conjecture on my part. I felt a sympathetic twinge of pain in my own chest, and my stomach lurched. Bile and hopelessness rose up in my throat. I stood, hands balled tight into a white-knuckled fist. I took a deep breath. Everybody's here. All around the room were the rest of the Nonary Games participants, except for, of course, for Quark. I wanted to ask which of them had killed her, even if it had been one of them, though There was no way they'd answer. All I could do was stare at each one of them in turn, asking myself, is this person a murderer? The looks they traded with one another suggested that I wasn't the only one wondering if that they were standing next to a killer. An unsettling silence filled the room. Clover was the first to speak.
Who did this?
Yep, this feels like this is the same conversation as before. That could be Luna. Questionable if it's Luna. Questionable if it's Dio. I don't see how it could have been Tomoji. Unless Luna says Tomoji ran through the infirmary and then ran out the other door to go and murder somebody. Could be K, but it's questionable.
Say something. Answer me.
Please, Clover, calm down. We don't even know if she was killed.
Then what happened?
Did she kill herself in this timeline?
Accident? You think a scalpel just dropped from the ceiling and stabbed her?
Cool it, kid.
You did it, didn't you?
Are you nuts?
Then who did it? Who killed her?
Clover, even if we assume that she was murdered, that doesn't necessarily mean the killer was one of us, does it?
Wait a minute. You went into the AB room with Alice during the last round, didn't you? Something happened in there, didn't it?
No, nothing happened.
Don't lie to me! There's no way Alice would just run off like that! She wouldn't leave me! Something happened! If she was going to leave, she'd tell me! She...
Hey, Clover. Don't you think just assuming Alice was murdered is jumping the gun a little bit?
How can you look at her and say that? Scalpels don't just stab people all by themselves! Oh, I see. I see. I get it now. You're all in on it, aren't you?
This might be the Clover ending in which Clover just kills everybody.
One killer. It was 6. No wonder you're so anxious to say this wasn't a murder.
Clover, please, just settle down.
And there's another pose that really does not just line up with the conversation that's happening right now.
Show me some proof then. Prove to me in 10 seconds that you didn't murder my friend, or I'm going to kill every last one of you bastards! You're all going to die just like she did!
Once again, we have a voice actor yelling, which can be annoying. Hey, hold on a minute.
9, 8, 7.
Does she have the capability to kill everybody in the room that fast?
6, 5, 4.
Yeah, it'd be funny if she pulled that like egg thing on her hair off and there was a like poison gas in it.
Clover. 3, 2, 1.
Interesting to just end there on a to be continued. Okay, well, let's go ahead and overwrite a save file. We are now have had the game running for 68 hours. We have not really been playing that long. But also, I guess it's worth mentioning, the fact that there is a third digit on the playtime does imply that they expected somebody out there to actually play over 100 hours of this game. So, yeah, that just ends. Is there proof that it wasn't murder? Lock number 2. So we would have to find how can Phi B and K be saved to unlock lock number 1, and this is going to unlock another storyline, which definitely does make it feel like this may not be the right ending. It feels like the perfect ending might be way over here. So the next step is just to recursively rewind to this point. And then we don't need to really go through this whole conversation in which Alice throws her body at me. This time we'll betray, and we'll see if not Alice, Clover actually does listen to anything I say, and what Sigma, left to his own devices, would say or tell her to do. Because I suppose she said she would listen to anything he says, so if he says don't go through the 9 door until everybody else has 9 points, and she doesn't listen to it, that makes her a liar. But I wouldn't really suspect that she's going to follow, keep her word there. And yeah, we may very well go into what is going to be the perverted ending with Clover in this. Let's betray. Well, it's been recorded. Alright, now see, there's a problem. Because I tried to hit A as fast as possible to get out of skip mode.
Round 2 of the Ambidex game will now be displayed.
And it didn't get out of that mode fast enough. And in the menu here, there's not a way to do that. And see, that's my fear anytime we go into skip mode, is that we're just going to miss some dialogue. And so we did at that point miss some dialogue. I guess the easiest thing to do would be to go back here, and we'll just hit A through all of it instead of actually.
Hey, could you? I mean,
Let's see.
you're so
It's considerably slower to go this way because they still load up the animations and movements. And you can definitely see how the movements just jump up. And it loads up the audio, so that is way slower than skipping. And of course, you're button mashing. And so the only thing that stops you from continuing the button mash is the countdown. So let's see what this said. Betray.
Round 2 of the Ambidex game has been completed. Results will be displayed in the warehouse. Thank you for your participation.
Yeah, we may very well have skipped unimportant information here, which does certainly open up the possibility that there are definitely some places where it is unimportant information because they think you might be in skip mode. And that just makes it harder on the game designer and the writers to say, oh, now I have to put in pointless fluff because I think somebody in skip mode is potentially not going to see this.
Round 2 of the Ambidex game will now be displeased direct.
We can skip these specific lines of dialogue. So in this time, Alice and Kay ally, Bai and Dio betray. We betray Timoji allies. Which that brings everybody to basically the same, but Sigma's up to 4 now. Timoji's down to 4, and Clover has 9.
Points have been assigned or subtracted accordingly.
So if this is the case, and we see Clover actually escape and leave Alice behind, then that does reveal something about Clover's personality. And it does seem like in this timeline we are seeing hints of a secret personality in Clover anyways, a more duplicitous personality.
Please check your bracelet to
Instead
see
of
your updated
the
bracelet points.
loyal friend that she seems to be putting on. And in this timeline, does that mean there's only one? There's probably still only one option as far as going through the chromatic white doors, which, take note, we weren't able to actually get to that point until we can unlock the locks.
Promises are made to be broken, I see.
Sorry, I just couldn't bring myself to trust you.
Chosen betray and killed you. That was was a possibility.
Yeah. After all, you did choose betray in the last
It was a
round.
completely different situation. Well, in any event, your idiotic paranoia has given Clover 9 BP. How do you intend to deal with that?
Don't worry. She'll never try and open the...
Really? Then what's that?
You turn around. Huh?
I believe she's standing in front of the number 9 door right now.
What? What the hell? No, no way. Yeah, he completely turned around. No explanation at all. She's just gonna escape.
Oh, the number 9 door.
I wouldn't be surprised if Alice straight up made Clover promise to try to escape if she had 9 points anyways, and leave her behind.
She opened it.
Shit.
I would like to see one timeline where people try and run through it anyways. Clover, what in the hell are you doing?
Sorry. Alice gave me an order though.
Clover, you have to get out of here and call for help. My BP's down to 1.
Oh, so Alice is the superior to Clover, which Japanese business structure, age almost certainly does make you a superior to any younger employee. So Alice told her to go because Alice's BP was down to 1, which kind of implies that this timeline never works.
I'll have to play the AB game at least 3 more times in order to get to 9. If someone beats me to it, then we'll be trapped here forever. That can't happen. I'm giving you an order as your commanding officer.
Apparently she is the commanding officer.
Escape.
What about the promise you made me?
Promise?
You said you'd listen to anything I said.
So, I am, aren't I? I can sure hear you well enough. Every little word is reaching my ears, isn't it?
See? Yeah, she phrased it so she was just going to listen to what he says, not actually do what he says.
What?
You.
Were you thinking of something gross? You're a perv.
Yeah, this is breaking the fourth wall and just telling the game, yeah, if you thought you were going to get a lewd ending here, you're just a pervert. But in all fairness, the game is intentionally implying that, so that they grabbed your hand and took you down that road. So the game developers are as perverted as anyone potentially playing the game, and assuming that, if anything, I'd say the game developers are even more perverted, because this really is not a story that suits well with any of that at all. Like, there really shouldn't be any lewd sex jokes. Maybe you could have a just, like, in conversation dirty joke said for some falling action, but the fact that you have Alice basically topless throughout the entire game is just completely insane, and Clover is in this rave outfit is completely insane, particularly since it seems like they are working for some kind of secret organization. It feels like they are dressed to be kind of like femme fatales or something that you would see in a James Bond movie, not in reality. Hey, come on now.
The number 9 door has been opened. It will remain open for 9 seconds.
Anyway, I did what I promised, so I'll be heading off now.
Clover!
Clover!
Fucking bitch.
There is a small chance that Clover actually would call for help, where I don't think Dio actually would. Although I don't think it really matters that much, because if the world is actually devastated and there's only small settlements of survivors, there may be no help outside anyways.
Not getting out of here.
Unless Dio is going to kill Clover. Or Kay is going to kill Clover. I guess she's getting away. Or unless Phi's going to beat her up or stop her. Dio leapt toward Clover with a roar, but she danced quickly aside, dodging his punch with ease.
Bye, guys.
With one last carefree grin, she leapt through the number 9 door. Yeah, this just feels like a dead end. I still feel like it would probably make a lot of sense to put the safes. You could probably move the safes, get all of them, and have them ready to be slid right under the number 9 door when it opens, so that the door is left open always.
This ends the Nonary Game.
I guess the question is, when the Nonary Game ends, do the bracelets at that point fall off? I don't think they do. It still seems like at any point you could be murdered if you tried to escape.
Thank you for your participation. As the game is over, all doors other than the number 9 door have been unlocked. Escape is not possible. Please enjoy your stay.
Yeah.
She's gone.
Shit.
All we can do now is wait for her to call for help.
Help, huh? Let's hope there's still someone who can.
What's that supposed to mean? So finally we're going to get the revelation from Tomoji, or we aren't. Tomoji said nothing, just shuffled off through the yellow door and out the room. Cold silence descended on the rest of us. It was a silence that promised to remain for a very, very long time. And in this scenario, they don't even, I guess, discover that Alice has been murdered or she hasn't been murdered. We don't even get to the point where it says Alice had left the room. It's just not mentioned at all. Alright, so that's that game over. We should always just go through these, just in case one of the save files corrupts. Even though that was barely 14 minutes difference. Okay, so then that recursively takes you back a lot further. And next we go through either the red or green door, whatever the second option is. And that'll tell us a slightly different story. At least get us into another escape room. Clover and I will more a pair. That means I had to choose one of the 3 solos. So we're going to go through the red door with Dio. I feel like the third option is never going to be an option anyways. And we may not actually need to click on those ever. I'll take Dio, that means the red door for us.
Whoa. Betting on the dark horse, huh? Feels kind of weird to say that about myself. Anyway, might as well be polite. Thank you.
It's like the only time Dio has ever not been a jerk. Are you okay with that, Clover?
Well, I don't really trust him, but
Should we really trust Clover since we just saw her
Alice
escape?
really wants to go with option B.
Yes, this works fine.
Alice ends up with Tomoji. And Quark and Phi and Luna end up with that.
Kay, Tenmyoji, and I will take the green door.
And I guess Quark is asleep at the moment, and they haven't found the cure.
It's not great, but it's better than Dio. I'm good.
Well, I'm willing to do option B. Quark should be fine if he's with Luna.
Okay. I'll take good care of him, I promise.
They definitely had to have 2 or 3 different people that Tomoji would allow Quark to be with once they introduced the idea of him being knocked out or sick. What about Phi and Kay?
Here. I'll take Quark and Luna, and we'll do the blue door.
I also approve of option B. I will take the green door, correct?
Yeah, good. Looks like we're all set. Kay nodded and handed Quark gently to Luna.
10 seconds remain until chromatic
So it'll be interesting when we get to the 3-door branch. Will the center door unlock in this branch also? Is it that all the left flow branches always open the right door, all the center branch open the center door, and all the right flow branches open the left door? Very well may be the case. We are fortunately not that far off. It probably is maybe another 6 hours depending how long all this goes, but we aren't that far off from hitting a point where we'll at least be done with all the options here. Definitely done with all the options here, but also potentially approaching the point where we would really only have to rewind to this decision a couple of times, since these lines are just straight lines where you don't have a choice. Come on guys, hurry, the door's already closing.
I know.
With seconds to spare, we leapt across the threshold. In a funny way, since we saw Clover's ending promising some like cheesecake, as they call it, and not delivering, I almost wonder if the writers are going to feel bad about that and actually deliver on some cheesecake in an Alice ending. But I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't. So we go through the red door, which takes us where? What is this? There's 3 different doors.
Which one do we take?
Dunno, but it looks like they're all locked anyway.
So this is a dead end? Great.
Hey, hold up. So we want to pay attention to who pulls the handle this time. Is it perhaps a case that the doors open based on who pulls the handle, or perhaps it opens differently based on whether it's a solo or a pair person that pulls the handle? What's with this thing?
Well, it's got a lever on it.
Don't get too attached. It's probably a lever.
Apparently that's a Japanese pun.
Yeah, pretty good, huh? Am I great?
Being translated to English. Yeah, and the localization of a game like this, if there is a character that is just constantly spouting out Japanese puns, that's going to require some rewriting in English to even begin to explain that. Dot dot dot.
Hey, Sigma, is this chick simple or something?
I wouldn't rule it out. Let's just take it easy with her, okay?
Hey! What kind of a gentleman has a secret conversation in front of a lady? I guess it can't be helped, though. You boys just secrete secrets.
Wow, it seems like we may have found yet another path where Clover is going to be a main focus.
Oh man, I'm good.
Sigma, please, let me give her a smack.
I wouldn't do that. What if it only makes her worse?
Well, I think that's enough genius comedy for now. How about we throw that lever?
I thought you said we should stay away from it.
Well, you don't really think anything bad's gonna happen if you pull it, do you? Besides, it's not like we can go back.
Fine. I'll do it.
So Dio pulls this one. And was Dio a single or a pair? I think he was a solo.
We go.
And then it zooms in so you don't know which door that opened. Huh? The center one opened.
Looks like the others are still locked, though.
So it definitely feels like either the solo opens or just something else causes that specific door to open. And it kind of feels like it kind of has to be those because the solo person pulled the lever. Because if it was that the middle door opened because I chose to go through a specific chromatic door in the first AB escape room AB round, well, then the rules wouldn't be very fair because that's not really taking into account what Clover went into in the first AB round as far as escape rooms and what chromatic door Dio went into, which could easily be all different solutions.
The center one then. Forward.
I wouldn't really be surprised if it's just they're just gonna chalk it up to randomness. Without waiting for a response, Clover marched through the door. Dio and I shared a glance, shook our heads, and followed. And so this takes us to the laboratory, which we haven't done the laboratory before or seen it. But I can tell you something about this laboratory. It does look very familiar. Looks very much like the cloning lab in which we saw Dio's end, where he was cloned. What is this place?
Well, it said laboratory on the door, didn't it? I figure that means they're dissecting frogs or building mine rays or something.
A laboratory, huh?
Do you think they might research stuff like viruses here? If they do...
Good idea. We might be able to find some of that axolavar.
If we do, we can cure Quark.
You really think it'll be that easy?
Well, somebody's a positive thinker.
Just saying. This place hasn't exactly been set up for us to succeed so far.
Well, we won't know until we look. So let's get started. This animation, I think you had to have, although you could have just reused the exact same animation in the previous game. There really was no reason for that. So we'll just go ahead and overwrite that. We did not find an actual ending. We've so far only been able to find Dio's ending, which I feel like he very well may be the key that unlocks some other ending. Anyways. And so we're going to do this escape room next time, and then we'll do the novel sections. Maybe there'll be fairly redundant novel sections, and then we'll decide to ally or betray. It looks like the ally path is going to potentially be longer, where the betray path is almost certainly just going to be a dead end. And then we recursively rewind it to do the green room, and then that'll put us on a linear path to the second AB room. And at that point, then we start on the third path. And yep, the only big concern here is we get all of these paths all the way to the right done, and it probably has maybe unlocked just one key, one clue, and we'll have maybe 4 or 5, maybe even 9 to be continued sections that we will then have to decide, well, what key did we just find that would unlock a to be continued section. Theoretically, this section here that's labeled just as a novel is also a to be continued section, unless you already knew the password, which almost feels like you could speedrun this whole game had I just picked all the first options and known the password because I was looking at a walkthrough or something. As far as archives and memos, there's still plenty of that because we, in this single episode, only really did one escape room and then a lot of story. And it's not like the story really revealed too much to us, although, in all fairness, before the beginning of this episode, we didn't know anything about a Mars base or anything about Radical 6 potentially eradicating all human life, although that could have been guessed. Now we have real hints that Radical 6 has killed almost all human life, and that there was a Mars colony, and that the source of Radical 6 might have been from that Mars colony or Mars testing facility that was pretending to be a Mars colony. Anyways, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend to follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. And if you want to support me further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and gift me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.